Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. Wherever you are in the world, this is another edition of The Living World of Darkness, the Camarilla Band, where we find ourselves deep in the caverns of the down-ridden, filth-ridden sewers of New York. We're currently in the one of the makeshift training rooms that was built by the inhabitants of the bunker. We find a man who's currently training with a very large riot shield and a sword, which is currently flaming. Uh, and he's training. He's making series of hits in thin air, um, trying to make every stroke look great and look perfect. And he seems very obsessed to get it right every single time.
So, Hayden, after the raid on the High Society party, he's managed to come back to the bunker and he's changed into just kind of a athletic kind of sporty top, a hoodie and some tracksuit bottoms and trainers. And as he heads into the room, he spots Lucius training with the riot shield and sword. Remembering that Alec had mentioned that Lucius normally fights with a shield, and having heard a little about him, Hayden just politely watches off on one side as the Tremere basically trains, making sure that every blow, every strike is absolutely perfect. And as he's watching, he's going to be doing his hand wraps.
As Lucius continues training, he focuses on the fight, but as soon as someone enters, he'll notice, especially if it's a face he's never seen before. Not knowing or having seen you before, he immediately stops his training. And then he turns towards you and looks at you and says, "Who might you be, sir?"
Hayden looks at him in his eye. I'm Hayden Luke Connors of Clan Gangrel. I've just arrived a couple of months ago, and you are?
My name is Lucius Kagula. I am currently the leader of the coterie of the unit.
Oh, the unit.
A member of Clan Tremere.
Well, I'm glad to make your acquaintance. I've actually Alec's been showing me the ropes, and he said I should speak to you about the unit. I was thinking of joining up. I've done a couple of raids before.
You have done raids before. Who have you fought next? I haven't seen you in either one.
I recently helped members of my clan find another one of our kind, and I also helped on the recent raid on the party that Samantha was hosting.
How did that go?
I believe it went pretty well from what I saw. We managed to sneak in as the kitchen staff. I kept one of the guys busy while we spiked the drinks. We managed to make a distraction and extract the targets and get out.
You have extracted your target, which means you've got Samantha.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that went better than I expected. Were any of the people of the unit involved? Were any people of the unit involved? I assume Alec was there.
Yes, Alec and myself have came down to support Invictus in the raid.
I need to talk to Alec. So yes, you want to talk to me about joining? Well, that is a possibility, obviously.
Well, yeah, sure, if you don't mind having a training partner.
Well, I do have a surplus of Gangrel. I have Samson. You want to join it? You and though I find your happy bunch to be great fighters, I do have to say that I don't want too many of them, simply
Well,
because other
if I
coaches
may,
deserve fighters as
if I may interrupt, I wouldn't say I'm really much of a fighter myself. I mean, I can defend myself. I've been learning, but my specialty is slightly more technical, shall we say?
well. Explain.
Mm. Yes, well, before the Embrace, I worked with computers, mostly software, but I can work with hardware too.
The moment you start throwing terms like software and hardware, you can see that he immediately loses interest in whatever the hell you're talking about. Clearly, he's not a computer focused.
I wouldn't say focused. I'm interested in all knowledge that comes before me, but yes, computers are what I took my major in, computer science.
Lucius shrugs. So when you join the unit, I expect you to not only pack your laptop, but also carry a gun and a knife.
Oh,
I expect you to be a part of this war, like everyone. And yes, you can wield the tools you possess, but I want you to be able to defend yourself against people running towards you. And I assume you rather not throw your laptop
yes, yes, definitely. I've been training with Alec when I've had free time, and well, to be honest, I just wanted to ask a few questions about what the unit wanted to achieve.
ask what you want to know.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again? The audio is just really quiet for me.
Sorry. Yeah, you can ask. What do you want
Yes,
to know?
well, I assume you are currently well, if not one of, you are helping command and direct the forces, right?
I command. If asked to command, I lead missions. I lead raids. I expect people to follow my orders when I lead them, and I expect people to follow those orders when we're in the field. If the unit is not in the field, I expect that grand decisions, political decisions, are made as a group. If we can't agree on a political position, this is no problem. But we are a coterie, and we choose first.
Well, what kind of political positions would we be potentially putting?
Well,
From what
let
I
me
from what I hear, from what I
give
hear,
let me
that's the specialty of your clan.
let me give you an example. When we were just starting this bunker, there was a choice to be made. Who would lead us into combat? Who would be our war leader? Then, because of all the political trifle, Alec
Mhm.
spoke up and said, "Well, I'm choosing Isaac because Isaac is my clan." Obviously, before this happened, publicly was asked who would step forward, who would want to lead our group. I, feeling obligated to represent the unit at that moment, stepped forward, not wanting to undermine the vigilance that we have as the unit. Obviously, Alex spoke against me because he spoke for Isaac. That's a political faux pas, if I have heard one. So
Is
next time, if choices are to be made, for say a leader, say a position that either someone is interested in or a clan member is interested in, just run it by the unit. And if you can vote on it, because that is clear, we vote on it,
so
then we can
what?
have the entire unit step behind that person which the unit has chosen, therefore strengthen its position instead of weakening it.
So what you're looking for, at least within the coterie, is a democratic unit.
What we strive for is unit as in unity. We want to stand as a group of neonates, or maybe even at some day in Scylla or elders. Well, in Scylla most likely. At that point, we as a group would like to represent that part of the coteries, that part of New York which has fought together, stood together, fought together, bled together for the greater good of Camarilla.
And well, forgive me, I don't understand too much of the Camarilla at the current moment, but so you're saying that you'd want to increase the stability and the unity of the Camarilla as a whole if, well, we manage to take the city back.
We'll first start with stability and winning this war we're at. This is my primary goal, to stabilize this city by means of war and by fighting together as a unit. When, if the war is completed and we are shown victorious, then obviously someone else is needed to pick up the cloak of political office, even
Mm.
for a unit, even for the unit. At the moment, I am focused on combat, focused on fighting.
And what would happen after the fighting, and how would you deal with any third parties in this? I just feel too comfortable with the idea of too much collateral damage.
Collateral damage is necessary. It will be there. When you do not pick up the sword, that does not mean you will not die by one when our enemy strikes us.
Mm, yes. Well, it's definitely something for me to think over, but I assume being able to take Samantha down is a big victory for us in this city.
Samantha was a traitor. She is a traitor. And therefore she will die a traitor's death. I am sure of it. She will be handed over and punished severely, maybe until death. It is brought down by forces of war. War doesn't necessarily mean that we go in charging, swords drawn. This could mean that we're fighting the war with little cameras flying in the air. It's still the same. It's war.
Mm.
War of attrition, war of information, war of soldiers. It's all war. Currently, we're in a war. This city is at war. You are a soldier because you are here in this war. And Curtis froze a little bit. I believe my colleague has some difficult difficulties.
Yeah. Sorry, my internet decided to cut me off.
No problem. It happens to the best of us.
Where did you hear up to?
I didn't hear you respond to the fact that I told you that we're in a war. Everyone has a place in this war.
Yeah.
Because you're now in the city, you are a soldier fighting in this war. Whether you pick up a sword or a laptop doesn't really matter.
Well, Hayden's response to that will be, well, I suppose that depends on your definition of war. It's been happening for, yeah, I mean, was something I'd like to avoid, but since we have no choice, what I'd propose is that I'd liaise with you and with other relevant parties to try and minimise losses and achieve the best result possible for both the coterie and the city.
How would you aid us in doing this? What is your plan?
Well, I can. Well, as I said earlier, I'm a technology specialist. I can keep track of the coterie's movements if I have to try and identify any threats before they appear. There's a lot of things we can do in the world nowadays with technology. It's just a matter of improving upon it and exploiting the resources we have to get the best result.
Right. We as the unit have never thought about bringing monies together in order to buy equipment for us to increase our surveillance and electronic capabilities. We'll have to talk about it. But it does make sense that if you can avoid kindred getting killed by pre-surveilling areas, by making sure that we have the right people to identify, to upgrade our security, that's a bonus that is necessary.
It's not just a matter of kindred being killed, it's a matter of, being able to redirect Kine if we need to protect the masquerade, being able to catch potential breaches before they happen, being able to erase evidence of anything we need to. It just sounds like the smart decision to me, but how would you propose that we would go about that?
Well, first of all, I would bring your application in front of the unit. And then, if your people have no problem with you joining, then I would invite you to have a talk with me, to have a talk with someone of our coterie who is more skilled in understanding the electronical issues of this age. And then
Yes,
we
well,
will talk about what I expect to happen. And then you can tell me what you can provide, including distractions, for instance. Last time we used the distractions of the anarchs, having anarchs attack a certain position, making sure that part of the enemy went that way to attack them, while we attacked their headquarters and took down one of the largest enemies of the Camarilla for the last few hundred years.
yes, yes, I mean, well, I was going to talk to Alec after anyways to get a debriefing on the whole situation before I jump in the pool, so to speak. But well, he kind of shook his head.
I will bring it before the coterie. You are noted, and I understand that someone like you might be necessary in our future if we want to evolve from a simple raiding party to a more sophisticated way of dealing with problems.
Well, honestly, I don't mind being out on the field. Sometimes field work can be fascinating. You can learn a lot by being on the front lines, but
Aiden,
I
I
think
expect you, when we go out as a unit to do a mission, to be there, to bring your electronics and to bring your gadgets and hack into the nearest thing that'll give you the power necessary. order to do the thing that I want from you. You will be there in the field. You will carry a gun, and if necessary, you will fire that gun. That's why we will train you to use that
Yes, yes. Well, I guess I'll have to find a bigger bag to put everything in then.
gun. That might be a good idea.
I don't. A sec. So I apologize for the delay. We'll wait until he comes back. But so far, what's going on is Hayden is trying to reconcile himself and his idealistic kind of nature, you know, avoiding violence when it doesn't need to happen, making sure everything runs smoothly with the way that Lucius seems to be operating things. Let's see if he's online.